Then attend to this heaven slice of an angel wrapped in skin. Throw dice and woes of life. Love deprived, looking to revive. What's the meaning of life? One subjective paradise. Crystal chandeliers, motives reflected. Often mirrors appear clear, grinning from ear to ear. Craving and raving and grain, rekindle the flame. Closer she draws near. Stay there, remove your underwear. Shove it somewhere over there. In paradise, we know our purpose. In paradise, we know what our worth is. In paradise, we manifest dreams.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark. Today, we're going to be talking about the NFL games coming up this weekend, a little Big 12 basketball, breaking down the games, as well as giving my opinion on some of these sports guys that really they irritate the hell out of me, to be honest with you. Anyway, so we're going to talk about what's coming up this weekend. There's going to be 4 big games in the NFL before we get to the championship games next week. Break it down to the final 4 teams. We're in the Elite 8, if that's what you want to call it now for football, for the NFL. Really, there's only one Elite 8, one Final 4, and that's in March Madness, which is coming up here pretty quickly, which I'm looking forward to. Anyway, let's go ahead. Let's break down the Rams versus the Bucks, and you got to talk about McVay and Stafford versus Tom and Arians. I mean, that's basically what's going to come down to. Now, the difference is Tom, his offensive line is beat up. His offensive line before everybody got hurt, his center just got hurt. Before everybody got hurt, his line had played together longer than any other NFL line, which allowed him to stay clean in the pocket for the most part and not get his brains beat out, which allows him to be 44 and still playing today because of the rules, and you can't touch him. So I don't really take too much stake in him being the greatest quarterback of all time, because you played when nobody could touch you. So play when you can play. Be at 44 back in the 70s and 80s and still doing what you're doing, then you're the greatest of all time. But just because you got 7 Super Bowls playing in a generation where you can't get touched, bro, I can't give you no love. Sorry. Anyway, let's talk about this matchup. So it's going to be hard for me because I kind of want to see Green Bay against Tampa Bay, which Tom Brady playing against Aaron Rodgers again, and Aaron Rodgers avenging that defeat he had last year, which still to this day, I don't know how you don't run for it. I mean, the end zone is right there. You're 7 yards away. But being Aaron, being the arrogant person that he is, the talented person that he is, and usually people that are very talented tend to think, oh, I can do anything I want. Excuse me. I can do anything I want. So, anyway, I hope they get a chance to do that. I don't think it's likely, simply because, like I said in the opening, that Tom Brady, his line is all beat up, and I think the Bucks, I just don't know if they have an answer for Aaron Donald and Von Miller. I don't know if they can. They're going to be hungry guys this weekend, but Bruce Arians is going to have a scheme for them to help, whether that's add a tight end, chipping, helping to chip Von Miller, but to do what to try to guard Aaron Donald one-on-one, that's just not going to happen. He's going to have to take up a minimum of 2 guys, if not 3. And then you got to figure out everybody else hopefully can do their job one-on-one on the outside. Sorry, one-on-one. If they can't get that done, Tampa Bay is in a lot of trouble, and Tom Brady his jersey is going to be it's going to be really, really dirty. We know the more he gets hit, the happier feet, the more he gets rid of the ball as quick as he can. Of course, the Rams cornerbacks and defensive backs are really good, and they're going to be jumping routes left and right. So we shall see how that happens. But I'm taking the Rams in an upset in this game, even though it is close. When I was looking at the line earlier, Tampa Bay is a 2-point favorite, so they're -2. They're a 2-point favorite to get that done. I don't know. I'm just going to take the Rams. I'm just going to go ahead and take the Rams, even though, like I said, I do want to see Green Bay versus or Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. I mean, let's not Green Bay versus the Bucks. It's Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. Okay, let's just be honest about it. So anyway, I'm going to take the Rams in this in a close game. I think or not a close game, but I think the Rams will cover that 2-point spread. I do believe that. I think they'll beat them by at least a touchdown, but we shall see how that works out because Tom Brady is Tom Brady. Uh, then in the other game, the 49ers versus Green Bay. Green Bay is a 5.5 I'm like, are you 5 points? Now, granted, it's going to be cold. Right now, it's projected to be -9. We had those temperatures last year, and that's cold. And I wasn't trying to get outside last year when it was -10, 15, whatever it was. I was not trying to get outside. And these guys are talking about playing football. That ball's going to feel like a rock. That ground's going to be hard. But Green Bay, those fans, they love this stuff. And I have had the opportunity to go to a Green Bay game before at Lambeau. It was Chicago versus Green Bay. And it was late November, early December. And it was, oh my God. I mean, I had on long underwear. I had on 2 pairs of jeans. I had on 2 T-shirts on top of my long underwear, the thermal underwear. I had a sweatshirt. I had a hoodie over that. I had a jacket over that. I tried to wear 2 stocking caps, some earmuffs, whatever. I made it to the third quarter. Like I said before earlier, there's a reason why I played basketball, and that is it. I was completely out. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Even though I do love watching football games. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do love football games. I do love watching. But minus temperatures, yeah, I'm out. I just can't do it. I just don't know how they're going to do it. But they are getting paid a lot of money. And they're football players. I mean, they played in cold before. I mean, it's just like Trent Williams, the offensive tackle. They asked me, "You played in cold weather before?" He said, "Sure, I did." The University of Oklahoma, we played in 2007, which was either 2006 or 2008, because OU seems like they were in the Big 12 every championship every year in Kansas City, and it was freezing cold. I think it was 20-something degrees. And I think wind chill was minus, but it was freezing cold. And of course, the Sooner fans represent their team and follow their team well, and they were there. But whatever you can do, you can do. Anyways, 49ers, Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy G versus Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur. I'm going to give the edge, like I said. I'm going to probably, well, I didn't say. Like I talked about earlier when we were doing what I did earlier Monday when I talked about matchups and coaches. I picked Shanahan over LaFleur simply because Shanahan had been there before and had won a championship and went to the Super Bowl. LaFleur, of course, had had home field last year and lost to Tampa Bay, the eventual Super Bowl champion. So, once again, it's at Green Bay. It's going to be cold. Aaron Rodgers is used to it. I don't know how Jimmy G is going to perform in the cold. That is my only concern. I do think that if the 49ers get the ball, they are going to take it. They're going to try to run the ball down Green Bay's throat, take care of the ball, keep their defense off the field. But I'm assuming that you're going to want to play. Whether you're offense or defense, you're going to want to be on the field because when you're out there hitting people, moving around, your body's going to get warm and you can deal with that. So I think that, but anyway, I think that the 49ers are going to try to run the ball on Green Bay, keep Aaron Rodgers off the field as much as possible. But we're going to see how well Jimmy G is going to perform in the cold weather. And I'm not a fan of the cold, but we'll see what Jimmy G was able to do. So anyway, I'm gonna pick Green Bay. I'm gonna think Green Bay. They had a week off. They've gotten almost all of their players back now from injury. So I think they're going to be a different ball team. I think they're going to be hungry. I think they're on a mission to avenge their loss at home in an NFC Championship game against Tampa Bay last year. So I'm going to go ahead and take Green Bay, but -5. Man, that's a lot of points. That is a lot of points. What they're saying is Jimmy G is not going to be able to perform in the cold weather. But that's a lot of points. I'm going to probably go ahead and take Green Bay in that and take the points. And I'm taking the Rams, marking this down. So Monday when I come back, I'll be able to go over my list and say who I picked and who I didn't. So anyway, I'm going to take Green Bay in the points, in that 5.5 points. In that, right there. I'm going to take them at Green Bay in that. Okay. Now, the Bengals and Taylor Burrow versus Vrabel and Tannehill. Uh, the Bengals are young, boy, they're talented. With T. Higgins and Jamar Chase on the outside, they're talented. And Joe Mixon in the background, that is a four-headed snake with Joe Burrow, of course. That's a nasty combination because Mixon is an unbelievable back. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's hard to tackle. It's very shifty, but at the same time, if he needs to be powerful and run over you, he can do that. He's extremely, extremely talented. Got to watch him play quite a bit when he was at the University of Oklahoma. So I really like what they've got going on there versus the Titans. They get the big boy back, Derrick Henry. I don't like I said, coming back from injury, you never know what you're going to get with him. Either he's going to be a little rusty. I mean, let's face it, somewhat, but he's going to be rested. His body's not going to be hurt from getting beat up all year long, so he's going to have some fresh legs, and I think he's going to be hungry to play in front of the fans there in Nashville. So that's ought to be exciting. And of course, Mike Vrabel will have some sort of a game plan for them because remember he played for Bill Belichick and won a couple Super Bowls with them. So I believe that's going to be, if I have to do the matchup between Vrabel and Taylor, I'm going to take Vrabel simply because for him to have the number one overall seed, considering everything they had this year, I mean, they just got murdered with injuries, but yet somehow another way they found a way to win, found a way to win, found a way to win. Ugly, great. Didn't matter. W's a W. Whether you win by 1/100, it's a W, and you got to take it and go home. So this game is going to be interesting. I'm really excited to see what actually happens. But I do want to take Vrabel, and I think I'm going to take I'm going to take the Titans at home. They've got a week off, so I'm going to take them. And they're 3.5-point favorites, so let me mark that down over here. -3.5 on that. So I'm going to take the Titans at home. I'm taking both first round teams at home. But as a matter of fact, taking Green Bay, even though, like I said, 5.5 points is a lot of damn points. I'm still going to have to take Green Bay, even though if I was a gambling man, which I'm not, I don't really gamble on football and stuff like that. So that's just not my thing. A lot of people do. It's just not what I do. But a lot of people do that. So I should have asked my main guy about that. I have a good friend who does that. So I should probably have asked him or what he thinks on that. And next time I'll do that. In fact, I'm trying to have him on at some point so he can be my guy and we can talk about this sort of thing. Who would think we may have him on next week? And for the Super Bowl, too, to talk about that. Then, of course, now it's the Bills and Sean McDermott and Josh Allen versus the Chiefs, which is Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I'm looking at this game, and the Chiefs are 1.5-point favorites. I think 1.5 is about right. I hear this one particular guy. He does not like Patrick Mahomes. Whenever he's sitting there talking, and a lot of people love this guy, and I really, really like him when his takes are fantastic, and I like the guy. But when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, he has an issue with him, and I don't know what it is. They were talking this morning, and somebody's like, talking about, Jimmy G and Trey Lance, and talking about how the 49er fans want Trey Lance so bad, and you got to watch what you get, and, they haven't put him in. And when the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes after the first year, they knew immediately. They had watched him practice, and they jumped off him right in the middle. I mean, they had basically went to the conference. They had, I think, what were they, 12-5, I think they were, or 11-6. I mean, they were really, really good, and they got rid of Alex Smith because of Patrick Mahomes. There was no question. They moved off of him immediately. So they were trying to compare that, and they did that. And this particular guy goes, I don't remember them doing that. It's like, how do you not remember the fact that the Chiefs got rid of that to get Patrick Mahomes? How do you not remember that? Because you hate him. Every time he mentions a great quarterback, he starts out with Josh Allen. Okay? That's the first guy he starts out, that name that he brings up, Brady, he never, ever mentions Mahomes. Every time there's a quarterback, I mean, he talk about the AFC West. Who did he come up with? Oh, the Chargers. Oh, he's great. He's better than Patrick Mahomes. He's this, he's that. He's going to take over. Then when the Chiefs beat the Chargers, didn't hear anything out of his mouth about the game. Barely mentioned it. In fact, his assistant, the lady he had on, she mentioned it. He had nothing to say. And now it's not him. Now it's Josh Allen and There was Josh Allen last year. Patrick Mahomes dismissed him. Now it's Josh. I know Josh Allen is extremely talented. He's 6'6", he's 230. He can do all these things. There's no question. He and I compared the quarterbacks earlier this week talking about their arm strength. Josh Allen got him in arm strength and being able to run as far as being able to run over people and do more. There's no question that's the two things that he has over Patrick Mahomes. Other than that, he ain't got no nothing. He's not smarter. He has more wins. He hadn't done this. And Patrick Mahomes continue to break records. And you still don't get respect, dude. I don't get that. I really don't. I mean, he's the only quarterback in NFL history to throw a touchdown in every playoff game in his first 5 years. Only one ever in history to do that. I don't understand your problem with it. I mean, just face up. It's Patrick Mahomes and everybody else. Just acknowledge the man's greatness. Now, did he have an off year this year? There's no question. But acknowledge how good the man is instead of just kicking him to the curb every 2 seconds and trying to put some other quarterback up there that hasn't done anything. He's the only one of all those people that you named except for Brady and Aaron Rodgers that even have a Super Bowl. You're trying to keep putting somebody up. I mean, he's been to the AFC Championship game his first 3 years as a quarterback. 2 or 3, he should have won. They went to the Super Bowl. And he should have went all 3 years, if not for an offsides call that where Tom Brady threw an interception in Chiefs game the first time they played against Tom. So, come on. He's got 2 losses in the playoffs, and both of them have been to Brady. But yet you got to just bust on and on and on and on about every other quarterback than him. Give this man his due. He's got more fastest of this, fastest of that, this, that. He's got all these, and you still won't get, I don't understand your problem with him. I mean, acknowledge the guy. Oh, well, he started out this, he started out that. Yeah, I mentioned in the first 5 games, including the game that Buffalo kicked their butt, what his passer rating was and what he was doing compared to this last round. Everybody wants to talk about how easy the schedule was, and he's this, he's that. Guys, you talk about what you want to with the guy, we'll see what happens. Okay? He's only had 2 losses of all his losses that he's won, that he's lost by more than a touchdown. 2! Anyway, it's just the same. So anyway, the Bills versus the Chiefs, it's going to be a very good football game. It all depends on what Josh Allen. We don't know which Josh Allen we're going to get. He's going to be talented. He's going to do what he's going to do. I don't doubt that whatsoever. On the other side of that, I'm looking at it from one perspective that the Bills' defense is just outstanding. But once again, the way that they cover and the way they do things, they're vulnerable to the run. If Jared McKinnon can have another out game like he had this last game, they're going to be in trouble because that's how they beat up Buffalo twice. At Buffalo last year and then at Kansas City. Because they ran the football. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which I think they're going to get him back this weekend as well. They ran the football on him. And then, once you start running the football, those safeties have to come up. And once they come up, boom, you're over the top, your middle range shots. Then the Chiefs, this guy was also talking about, the Bills are the new Chiefs. They scored this, they do it. No, nobody's ever scored 5 touchdowns in 10.5 minutes. I'm sorry, guys, that I'm on this soapbox with him, but this guy, I can't stand these guys who get a microphone in front of their damn face and think they're knowledgeable. People listen to them. That's not the facts, bro. Check the facts. But just because you don't like somebody or just because you feel some way about somebody doesn't make it right. And we're going to talk about how I feel about Westbrook. Everybody knows I don't like him. Everybody knows I've never liked him when he was here. But everything I've said, even though everybody didn't like it, everybody agrees with it now. Yeah, Matt, you were right. Yeah, I know. I'm not saying anything bad about the guy. I mean, as far as he has his ups and the things he does, and we'll talk about that later. But right now we're talking about Patrick Mahomes and just one particular man who doesn't like him, who's on TV Talk Radio or TV Talk TV, Sports Talk TV. It's ridiculous. It just amazes me how week after week he just cannot give this man his due. And then when he mentions the great quarterbacks, he mentions him last, even though he has guys who come on and say, listen, we hear what you're saying, but there's Patrick Mahomes and everybody else. But he still can't do. He just won't do it. He does not like the guy for whatever reason. Doesn't even have stats to back him. He just wants to have somebody else take over the throne as the best quarterback in the NFL, and it's not happening. It's him. No matter how many guys you throw in his face, it's still him. It's the next guy. It's still him. He's not going anywhere, bruh. He's here. So, Chiefs, 1.5 favorites. I'm going to take the Chiefs at home in Arrowhead. It's going to be crazy because it's ironic that Tennessee, they didn't release their tickets. You couldn't change anything until, what was it, yesterday or Wednesday or whatever. Really? So you're saying your ticket holders are going to sell their tickets, so they're not real Tennessee Titan fans. You really don't have real home team fans. Chiefs don't do that. Chiefs like, here's our tickets, boom, go out. Because the Chiefs fans are going to show up in droves. They're going to travel on the road to see their team. They're going to be at home to see their team. And, yeah, you have a few people who can't make it who are going to – I mean, there's people who buy tickets simply to sell them. I have a friend who has Cubs tickets. And he sells the crap out of his Cubs tickets, but he keeps them because, A, he knows it's going to be hard to get them, and B, because he knows whenever I want to actually go to a game, and he may only goes to, I think it's 10 or 15 games a year. That's all he goes to, but he sells the rest of the tickets. I have a Houston Astros friend of mine that owns Houston Astros tickets right behind the third base line, sorry. And he gets rid of his tickets. And when the Astros went to the playoffs, I said, "Did you go?" He goes, "I went a couple years ago. I just sell my tickets because they pay for the price. Plus, I make money off of them. So he goes, but when I really want to go, or my girlfriend wants to go, we'll go. But other than that, I don't care. I just keep my tickets. So when I want to go, I can." And maybe that's a lot of Titans fans are the same way, that they sell a bunch of tickets. But that tells me if you're waiting, that means you have way more people to travel to your facility and your field and your home and play than you do your home fans. That's what, if you're that worried about it, you have to pull that off. Nobody else is doing that. Green Bay certainly is not doing that. The Chiefs certainly aren't doing that. Tampa Bay, they're not doing that. It's amazing you're the only team doing that. And I know the Dallas Cowboys don't do that because they ain't worried about it. They definitely going to have some fans at their games. So let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys versus the Lakers. And why you saying, Matt? Why are you bringing these two up? Because both of these are probably the two most recognizable names in sports as far as favorites. The Dallas Cowboys, America's team. Lakers would probably be the America's team of basketball if you want to give a title to that. So they break down as the two top teams. So we're going to take a little mini break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Dallas and the Lakers, and then we're going to give you the second half of the show. So hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Now, so before we take our break, we're going to talk about Dallas and the Lakers. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, after the debacle that they just happened to them this past weekend, the loss to the 49ers at home, probably should not have happened. But once again, the Dallas Cowboys underperformed, once they always do. I don't know how you play at home and you lay an egg and Dak Prescott has been very, very good in the playoffs in his previous playoff games. And even though he was 1-2, he still was very, very good in his playoff games. But the difference is, in his win, Dallas was able to run the ball, and in his 3 losses, Dallas was unable to run the ball. So in his 3 losses, even though the other 2 losses, even though his numbers were really, really good, they lost because they depended on him. This time around, he did not play well. But like I said, he hadn't played well all year after he got hurt. Before he got hurt, he was outstanding. And then once he got hurt, he had not beat anybody, and he just did not play well. And then you talk to the Lakers on the other side of that. The Lakers get Russell Westbrook, Brooke. They get Russell Westbrook instead of Buddy Hield. I didn't understand that. Like, we already got Buddy. The one thing that the Lakers were lacking is a shooter. I should say we, because everybody knows the Lakers were my number 1 team. I had the Lakers 1, Thunder 1A, and the Lakers had always been my team since I was 11 years old. And once we got a team in Oklahoma City, the Thunder were then my team, and the Thunder were my team, and I wear Thunder stuff or I wear Lakers stuff. That's it. But I wear Lakers stuff when the Lakers play the Thunder because I'm not one of these people who, that was my team. No, the Thunder are my team, except when they played the Lakers. Other than that, the Thunder were my team. Now, since Westbrook went there, the Thunder are my team. The Lakers, all my stuff is in a box, put away in the closet. I will not wear any Lakers stuff until he was there, and everybody knows me, knows that's exactly what I did, that's exactly what I said, and that's exactly what's happened up to this point. I will not wear anything with the Lakers on it while he's there. I did not understand that deal. Somebody said that Westbrook is like a beautiful woman. You see him walk across the street and think, oh my God, I gotta have her. And then as soon as you get her, you're like, I can't get rid of her fast enough. She's not what I thought she was. Or a good-looking man. Same thing. See this gorgeous man with all these muscles and hanging out, shorts and all this stuff. Oh my God, look at this dude. And you get him, you're like, what the hell? Same thing. He's played on 4 teams in 4 years. What does that tell you? Same thing with the Cowboys. They look really good, but when it comes down to it at the end, they're going to let you down. And, Dak Prescott, once again, bro, if there's 14 seconds left and whether you called your own number or that was the design play, you know you have to get down. You should know that you hand the ball to the official so that the referee who's sprinting down the field, trying to get there as fast as he can, that he has to touch the ball, he has to spot it. You get down faster than that. You should know. We're going to get down inside about the 28-yard line is where I need to be. 28-yard line, boom, I'm down. Boom, I handed him. I got 5 or 6 seconds. I give him, he can spot it. 2 seconds left, boom, we got a chance to run some sort of play down the field where I can get a chance to get the ball in the end zone and not have to worry about a Hail Mary. Or you just throw it to one of your tight ends and hope to get down. So obviously you didn't trust them enough to do that, or you just thought I would call your number, which was a really good play, except you went 3 to 4 yards, 5 yards too far. You got to know how far you're going. You got to know where everything's at. You got to know what's happening. You are the quarterback. They gave you $70 million this year, bro. You got to know what to do with that, and you didn't. So that's on you. Now, the Lakers. I didn't know what you saw in Westbrook. I still don't know what you're seeing, but now you understand it because 2 of the last couple games, you did not play him the last minutes of the game. What did you say after this last one? I put the players on the court that I think could win. So you're saying that Austin Rivers, an undrafted free agent from the University of Oklahoma, is better than Russell Westbrook? Now, that ain't what you're saying. What you're saying is you trust him at the end of the game more than you trust Russell. That's what I've said all year long, since I started watching the guy. Play him except the last 3 minutes. Because I promise you, he cost Oklahoma City 5 to 7 games every year because of his bonehead play at the end of the games. He is the worst player in the history of the NBA in the last 2 minutes of the game, as far as stats are concerned, as far as turnovers to assist ratio. He is the worst of all time. In 12 years, 6 years, he's led the league in turnovers. 6 other years, he's been second in the league in turnovers. Oklahoma City gave him a big, huge contract and was so happy to get rid of him. I promise they were happy to get rid of him and send him to Houston. And Houston loved him. After they got him, they're like, what in the hell's going on? So they got rid of him. Went to Washington. Washington was, oh, yeah, we got him. Lakers, oh, yeah, we need Russell. He's that third piece. I'm like, he's not the third piece. You need a shooter. Buddy Hill's a guy. That's a shooter. He's a proven guy. You need some shooters around you guys. Same thing in Oklahoma City. We need shooters. Go get some. You have tons of draft picks. There's tons of guys in the NBA who can shoot. Go get you some. Same thing. And when you look at him, Russell is about Russell. And for him to say that the most important thing to him is outside it has nothing to do with basketball. Are you serious? Basketball has allowed you to do the things that you do. Basketball has allowed you to have the name you had. Basketball has allowed you to go and to do all these philanthropist things. Basketball has allowed you to help the community the way you do. It's allowed you to have your clothing line, which sucks. And it's allowed you to do all that, bro. Allowed you to do all that. But Russell is about Russell. He is selfish. And I told everybody, ever since Oklahoma City did that in his second year, when we were losing, when we were winning by 20, he walked to the locker room. And when we were only up 7, they went back in the locker room and got him and pulled him out. He has been, look at me. You can't win without, I can do whatever I want. And when you got a guy like that, you're in trouble. You think of all the draft picks we've had. And so the people we brought in here, as soon as they leave, boy, they just go bam, 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 they're successful. Why? Him. He was the common denominator. Durant left because of him. They're like, oh, well, he stayed with us. Nobody wanted him at the time. That's why. You people are just, think of it. Go look. Open your eyes. Nobody wanted him. We gave him the big contract. You know, he had triple doubles, but you know what happened? This is the funny thing. The reason why he gets triple doubles is because he's about him. If you're a guard and you're playing the position and you're guarding people you're supposed to be guard, the hardest thing to get in rebounds as a guard, or the hardest thing to get to compete the triple double or rebounds. But in Oklahoma City, we allowed Steven Adams' rebound record to go down so he could get his rebounds. He could play out of position and go get his rebound. Now, did it cost us games? Oh, yeah, it sure as hell did. Because he was out of position defensively. So if somebody missed, they could block everybody out. He could run there and get rebounds. The Lakers, he ain't averaging a triple-double. You know why? Because everybody else ain't trying to give up their rebounds for him. They're like, you better get out there and play your position, boy. My job is to go over here and rebound, not yours. Get out there and guard somebody. He can't defend. LeBron is too old. He barely can defend. Carmelo, he can't defend. Anthony Davis is hurt. Austin Reeves can't guard anybody. He couldn't guard anybody in Oklahoma. I mean, guys, the Lakers ain't like Dallas. They look really, really pretty when you look at what they got. And when it comes down to it, inside, it's ugliness. It's ugliness. I'm going to calm down and get on. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the NBA. There's going to be some good games tonight. But anyway, the Bulls are number 1 in the East, followed by the Heat, the Nets, and the Bucks. And the Bulls have been 5-5 in their last 10 games. The Heat, however, are 7-3. The Nets are 5-5, and the Bucks are 4-6. And you'd have thought that the Nets would be better now they've got Kyrie back, but 5-5, not gonna get it done. And I thought they'd be much better once Kyrie got back, but that has not manifested. And I think they're just trying to figure out how to play with Kyrie. They got to figure out how to play together on the road and not have him at home. So that's just going to be a complete mess unless New York passes that law to where they can just fine up to $5,000, which is only going to cost the Nets. I think it's like $100,000 if he plays home games, which is a travesty. I will have no respect for them whatsoever if they do that. If the dude don't want to take his COVID shot, that's fine. But if you don't take your COVID shot, here's what you got to deal with. And all the people, if you don't want to take COVID shot, hey, that's on you. You don't take your vaccine, cool. Here's what you got to deal with. Me, I took my shots because I don't care. A. B, I don't want to be sick. C, I don't want to have the chance to expose myself to a worse sickness or take care of my little G. But like again, you can't get COVID with the shot. You can spread it with the shot. But if everybody got the stupid shot and everybody wore their mask, we would not have an issue. You wouldn't be missing high school games. College games wouldn't be affected. Pro games wouldn't be affected. If people would just do what they need to do for us just to do it, have a little inconvenience. Remember when the seatbelt law came out? I guess a lot of y'all don't, but a lot of older people do. Nobody wanted to wear a seatbelt. We didn't used to have to wear seatbelts. Then all of a sudden the seatbelt law came. If you don't remember, seatbelts only used to strap you around the waist. There were no collar seatbelts. There was only waist. Then that's what happened. So I have no sympathy for him whatsoever. I have no sympathy for the Nets. But Kyrie, you're hurting your teammates. Go get your shot. Especially unlike football doesn't really affect them that much because of the simple fact they don't have to worry about going to certain cities where that doesn't happen. Because all the if Carson Wentz was still in Philly, that would have been an issue when they played New York. He would not be able to quarterback. But he's in Indiana, and they didn't play anywhere where that affected them. So he got lucky when it came to that. Now, on the West, the Suns, Golden State, Memphis, Utah. The two hottest teams right now is the Memphis Grizzlies and the Phoenix Suns. Both of them are 8-2 in their last 10 games. Golden State is 4-6. Utah 3-7. Obviously, Golden State's 4-6 because of the big boys is out. So that is, Draymond is, whether you like him or not, he is the glue for that team. He does so much more. He defends the biggest guy. He's a point forward. He can run the point. He makes great passes. He makes great decisions offensively as how to set the picks and engage the groove. He makes great outlet passes. So since he's been out, Golden State is struggling 4-6. Even though they got Clay back, they still got to figure out how to play with Clay because he hadn't played with him in 2 years. So they've got to figure out how to get that the Splash Brothers together again and figure that and how that's going to work. So when I'm looking on NBA and games tonight, OKC versus Charlotte. My co-host the other night, Maya Young, had picked Oklahoma City, and she picked correctly the other night, picking San Antonio to beat us, and she picked that. So we'll see what happens with Charlotte tonight. Of course, Oklahoma City plays the Cavaliers, who are pretty hot right now, on Sunday, and she also picked Oklahoma City over the Cavaliers. So we'll see how that works. I'm thinking the Thunder will get it done if SGA is in his bag tonight scoring. 2, we play better perimeter defense, force them into taking bad shots. C, make good decisions offensively. Don't fall in love with the three-point shot. Let's knock down more mid-range because we're our field goal percentage for 2 is high 40s, low 30s for threes. We just do not shoot the ball well from 3. But everybody analytics, shoot the 3. No, score. Winning is scoring. DeMarco Rosen, he's averaging 20-something points a game and very rarely shoots 3s. Why? Because he's efficient. Kevin Durant does shoot 3s, but he wants to pull up and get mid-range. He's efficient. We have to be more efficient offensively and just go out there and shoot 3s. It's not getting it done. Now, when we're wide open, we make great plays and shooting wide open. Yeah, by all means, take the 3. I have zero problem with us shooting 3s if you're wide open. But the problem is we make a 3, then all of a sudden we think we're shooting, we start forcing them up, and then all of a sudden we go from shooting at the 3-point line to 5 feet back. So that's got to change. The Lakers versus Orlando. This is going to be interesting tonight because, Frank Vogel is hurting right now. I don't know if he's going to last out the year, but we shall see. And the question is, will Russell play the last 3 minutes of the game after saying what he said to Woj yesterday? So we'll see what happens on that. We'll see how his teammates feel about losing. If we lose, so what? The sun comes up tomorrow. What? I hated losing. I was in a bad mood if I lost. Losing is just not, I'm not a fan of that losing I'm playing. I'm busting my butt to win, and then we lose, and if the sun comes up tomorrow, the sun may come up tomorrow, it may not. Remember, God hadn't told you don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow. Only know the big fella upstairs knows if you're going to wake up tomorrow. Only him. So forget that. Clippers in Philly. Big boy, 50 points in 27 minutes. the other night, Joel. Oh my God, 50 and 27. Wow, he's just killing them. I mean, just killing them. He is a beast, and like I said earlier, Philadelphia, you're wasting him. Go ahead and get rid of Ben Simmons. Get you a couple third round picks, second round picks, maybe whatever in a player. Get you whatever you can to get rid of Ben. Ben don't want to be there. You're being hard headed. Just get rid of him because you're wasting this big boy in his prime of his career, and it's just stupid. Just go ahead, quit going. Oh, I'm right, dude. Let's just let go and go ahead and get you somebody else. The Heat versus Atlanta. Atlanta still, they've just got too many players that can play. They got a lot of players that can play. Okay? And everybody's on the board except Big Boy and Trey. Everybody else is on the board to get rid of because they just do not have enough basketballs for all the talent and all the shoot and all the people they have. They've done a great job of drafting, and they brought players in and they're just really rolling. So they need to get rid of some players. So, but they, like I said, the Heat are 7-3. They're on all floor. They're rolling on all cylinders. Jimmy Butler's doing Jimmy Butler things, and they're rolling. Portland versus Boston. I don't really care. Damian Lillard's hurt. Boston is whatever. Who knows what the hell that team is, so I don't really care about that game at all. Toronto versus Washington, don't really care about watching that game either. Chicago versus Milwaukee. Now, that I want to see. Even though Milwaukee's 4-6 in their last 10, I want to see that game. I want to see how Chicago handles the big boy inside Giannis, and I want to see whether they can do with Middleton in that group. So that's going to be really interesting. I'll try to watch that. Actually, depends on when the game is. If it's at the same time as the Thunder game, I will not be watching it. I'll be watching the Thunder game, of course. Brooklyn against the Spurs. I'm going to go ahead, and it's at San Antonio. So I'm going to probably take the Spurs at home in that game. Even though I think Brooklyn should beat them. We'll see what happens in that. Memphis versus Denver. Talking about the big fella. Oh, my God, the Joker. He's just a monster. If he doesn't win the MVP right now, to me, it's between him and Joel Embiid. And LeBron is on another level right now. They do have Steph Curry as the leading person to win it. I just don't see. I mean, Steph is good, but the way LeBron's been playing and the way that Joel Embiid and the Joker have been playing, I don't see how that could do this. To me, it's between Joel Embiid and the Joker. And the Joker is just the numbers he put up the other night. The triple-double was just unbelievable in their win. Detroit versus Utah. I'm going to go ahead and take Utah in that game. Even though Utah right now is 3-7, they need a win, and I think they'll get one. And then Houston versus Golden State. Who the hell cares about that game at all? Screw that. Okay, now let's get into Big 12 basketball. Okay. It's going to be some good games this weekend. We got West Virginia versus Tech. My boys, O State, taking on Texas. Baylor versus OU. KU versus K-State. And TCU at Iowa State. So, to start it off, I'm going to probably take Tech at home against West Virginia. West Virginia's been playing well. They're a hard team to beat. Huggins is a great coach. Their defensive style, they're aggressive, but I think Tech will get the job done at home to get back into their winning streaks again. So, and then Oklahoma State versus Texas. My boys going on the road. We got Texas at Gallagher-Iba. We're playing pretty good right now. Seems like we're kind of gelling a little bit. Coach B has got the guys, got some confidence. This would be a big whiff. If OSU wins this game, I think it'll go a long way to springboarding them for the rest of the season, even though there's no postseason for them. I hope they go ahead and get the win, and I'm going to go ahead and pick them, even though I think it's going to be a tough task for them to beat Texas. At Texas, I'm going to go ahead and give my boys the W on that one. Baylor versus OU. OU at home. You just lost to KU at home. You got to get a W at home. You got to protect the home floor. I mean, you just got to. Baylor got beat by OSU at home at Gallagher-Iba. So Baylor's going to go to OU. But I think on the other side, Baylor is just a little embarrassed that they're playing a couple times, losing us and losing to Tech at home and back-to-back losses, dropping to number 5 overall. I think they're going to be on a mission. So OU may be in trouble in that game, so I'm going to go ahead and take Baylor. KU versus K-State, the Battle of Kansas. I got to go with my boy Bill. I mean, that's my dude. So I got to go with KU in the win over K-State. TCU versus Iowa State. Man, like I said, Iowa State is one of the few places that I never won in. I never won there, and I never won in Lincoln. So those are two places, which is weird. It's like, how can I go to Missouri and win? How do you go to OU and win? And then the two garbage places in Nebraska, you can't get a W, you can't get a W at Iowa State. I just don't understand that, but, whatever. And Nebraska's not garbage, but I just hated that place. Even though I did have fun in Lincoln. We got snowed in for a couple of days and had a really, really good time back when I was a lot more fun than I am now. But anyway, I'm going to take Tech over West Virginia, O State over Texas, Baylor over OU, KU over K-State, and then I'm going to take Iowa State at home over TCU. I better mark that down so when I come back Monday I can check that. And then in the women's side of it, West Virginia at O State, I'm going to take my Cowgirls in a victory at home. Texas versus TCU at TCU, I'm going to go ahead and take the Longhorns. Tech versus KU, I'm going to take Tech. OU versus K-State, I'm going to take OU, even though K-State's really, really playing well. I'm going to take the Sooners over them in that. And then Iowa State versus Baylor, I'm going to go ahead and take Baylor in that game. So, anyway, that's the breakdown. Like I said, next week I'm going to have my guy on. I think I'm going to start having him on, and we're going to talk about the odds as far as football is concerned, who's to win, and see if we can get his opinion, and also break down on these other sports here as far as basketball is concerned as well. Anyway, hope everybody's staying warm. It's freezing cold outside. Wrap up. And remember, take care of yourself. Thanks for watching the Unpopular Hour with your host, Matt Clark. Peace out.